at least we are hopeful, and we can never lose our hope, because we know our God is alive. Thank you so much again for watching and choosing Church of Uganda Family TV. Every Wednesday we talk about finances, and today we are looking at something very, very important. I remember last time, there was a time we talked about retirement, and now some age groups were excluding themselves from retirement. Okay, they are speaking to the other age group, or they are speaking to the other particular age group. Now, today we are summing up all the age groups, and we are looking at financial planning for the different life stages. Last week we looked at financial planning for the new year, but then for the different life stages, it is important that you plan well so that you don't fall victim of the people Reverend talked about last time. Well, it's a pleasure to have Reverend Jasper here with us. Reverend, thank you so much for coming this evening.
Thank you for inviting me. Greetings all viewers and listeners. Again, one of my friends actually goes to listen.
Oh.
Yeah, because he's Katochi.
Okay.
So greetings to all of you. And it is again a pleasure to come and we learn together about finances, but more importantly about how we can teach our families to be good stewards. Because when you read the Bible, it mentions about wealth and money more than it mentions about heaven and hell. So you can imagine that you see wealth and money are part of the whole equation of us, ensuring that we are what? That we are, living a kingdom life. And so you'll see very many, activities, especially in the Bible, where Jesus says that if you see this, the kingdom of God is like this. The kingdom of God is like talents. So when we are discussing money, we are actually discussing kingdom business. And kingdom business begins at conception and ends at death. Yeah.
So it is like life.
Yes, it is life, and actually post-life. That what you left behind will also affect your generation. That because Abraham and acquired for Isaac the current Israel now, and God promised him. So Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob are patriarchs of Israel. Even today, that land is theirs. There is where Abraham bought, there is where Abraham got, and today it is still theirs. And even the war now, it is because of that aspect. And when you read again those patriarchs, all of them were wealthy.
Yes.
Their household, whether children, whether servants, all became wealthy. In fact, the first war was also about wealth. Offering to God, Cain and Abel. That's Genesis chapter 4. And there was a fight that God accepts your offering, me doesn't. Then if you check the first war also between wealth, that's Abraham and Lot. They had too much, so they couldn't stay together. And therefore, even today, choices that we make affect not only ourselves, but generations to come. So we are now discussing again something for life, and it will continue.
Sure.
So discussion about resources will continue.
Sure, and I look at it as something so broad that we cannot really handle in this 1 hour and complete.
No.
We pray that God gives us the grace to discuss what we can discuss in this 1 hour or less. Let us begin with now the different life stages that
So they are basically like 5. The first one is 0 to 12. That's what they call a relying stage. That children will rely on parents or guardians or wherever they stay. I mean, whether food, those are basics, whether needs like clothing and going to school, they totally depend on what? On guardians and parents. Now there is a adolescent stage from 13 to 17. Others try to put teenagers, but teenager Yeah, white it is from 13 to 19.
Yes.
But beyond 18, really, strictly speaking, most jurisdictions separate 17 from 18, and I'll come to it later. But that's adolescent stage. You are transitioning, and we call it response stage. That whatever you learned when you were young, you will do. If your father and mother were mean, you will practice meanness. If your father and mother were, beating you because of money, you'll also get money and beat others.
Because of that
especially
money.
Because of that money. So it is like a transformation stage. You are responding. So 0 to 12 again is relying, but you learn and formation stage. That young mind is seeing what dad and mama are doing. So from 13 to 17 again, adolescent stage, where you are networking, you are saving, you are dreaming, you are transforming your life. And it is a response stage again, that you respond to conditions around you. You find, young men trading and what, I will come to it later. The third is from 18 to 25. That's now a young adult stage. This one is a reckless stage, but also relationship stage. Okay. Reckless and relationship. Why? They are finishing university, entry of university or colleges, but they're also trying many things. They dreamt while they were teenagers, but now they are practicing and adventuring in what they dreamt. But they're also graduating from school.
Yes.
They are seeking for jobs, and most of them, that's when they are very greedy. I mean, whichever job they see, it has money, they will go. There is nothing like, I'm working for nothing, from 18 to 25. And that's where most of us actually end up in corruption. Why? Because it is grabbing stage.
So ambitious.
Your relationships. I have a date. So you date from a certain hotel when you can't pay. And things are tough. And then we have what they call young adult stage, young family stage, where you have responsibilities, that you have married, or even if you are not married, you actually are looking after very many people, 26 to 35. That's generally when you are no longer in a relationship. Relationships take shape, your networks are able to impact your finances, but you're also teaching, because most probably 0 to 12 are part of your family. So you are a teacher. And please remember that the moment you are a teacher, then you can't behave like a student. But we have, those young families where the teacher now behaves like a what?
A student.
They are even fighting for a remote. No. There you are teaching that TV is not a necessity unless if you are on Church of Uganda Family TV. You are teaching that, by the way, we can do without this as a family. That when it is prayer time, 9 p.m., all of us come. You are a teacher then. Then we have now all the family stage, 36 to 45. Now, I separated this partly because you are now in what they call a relaxing stage. You are supposed to have settled. You are no longer, seeking after vehicles, but instead your necessities are met because you are now taking children to school, dropping them. You are now chief executives, especially in countries where, there were no wars to interrupt what we call the whole life cycle. That's where now you have chief executives, you have top managers, you have top reverends if it is church. That's 36 to 45 there. Now, beyond 45 to 65, you are planning to retire.
45 to 65.
Yes, and that's what they call a requisition stage, or a reinvestment stage. That there are certain investment decisions I took while I was young, but those were wrong. I need to reinvest with the view of requisition in order to retire properly. so that, you know, I'm now planning. Like now, me and my wife, we are in this stage where we are now settled that we know we shall retire in this place. This is the type of house we shall have, not stored. Because my wife recently told me that when you are very old, you have no way of climbing the stairs, not as big, because in the young family stage, when God blesses you with money, you tend to build big rooms, self-contained. But now we are aware that our children won't stay in them. They come as visitors. So you rather have a small guest wing and a house which you can manage. So it is requisition stage, reinvestment stage, rethinking stage, that what can I do in order to have a settled life after retirement. Now, 65 plus, you are in the retired mode. And you are responsible for self. In other words, you control yourself. You don't have a boss. But in most cases, it also becomes a regulate stage. Regulate stage means you think, I wish I had. Now, you know, those are simple words.
Yes.
I wish I had 4 words. But they reflect the fact that there are stages where you wasted, stages where you failed to save and invest, and therefore you are regretting. And then in this age, that's when you are looking at your fellow colleagues. They are settled. Now we are also looking at your children who either have more money than you and they don't come to check on you, or if they come to check on you, they tell you, they remind you of your misery. That daddy or mommy, by the way, at our age, you should have done 1, 2, 3. And therefore, you enter that regulating stage. And it is tough. Why? Because now you become a messenger of misery. A messenger of misery means regret after regret, grief after grief. And wherever you go, you are complaining about the world. You are complaining about the government. You are complaining about nowadays. Complaining about the past, the future, the present, and nothing satisfies such a people. But thank God also for that other people where it is actually settlement. I am retired, I'm managing yourself, I'm managing myself, I can only enter fellowships and you know, contribute to either schools or hospitals, and I'm okay. And those people, although they are few, they are there, and those are the people who actually continue encouraging others to be like them. Why? Because they are settled. I have a lady, sorry to say her name, I will ask her after this WhatsApp, like Reverend Diana. Reverend D, is settled. I visited her. She's settled in what she's doing. She goes, you know, the people call her for counseling, and she counsels. When there is a preaching engagement, she comes, preaches, goes back. Her center is very, very busy. You know, people coming in, people coming out. When we visited her as a chapel, Ebenezer Chapel, the type of food, we are asking young people. I wasn't there in the beginning, and I found that she had actually satisfied all the desires of being a clergy. Why? Because settled, retired, but very,
she retired in a very conducive environment.
Exactly. And there is no regret therefore. And actually she retired slightly before retirement age. Yes, and that's okay. But it is settled because I took a decision and I don't have a regret for taking this decision. But even if I regret, I think this is rather okay. I'm still alive. I can still do what I would do even if I was in service. So those are the different stages, and therefore all those different stages will require different financial planning and management.
Exactly. Yes. And we want to start now with the earliest stages.
So childhood, 0 to 12.
Yes.
Learning and forming. Yes, they rely on you, but ensure that they are also seeing you saving, investing. That's when you get a piggy bank, and we say, all of us will be dropping these coins here, and after some time, open it up, and then You count the money, all of you, and then begin saying, what do we use this money for? What are you doing? You are helping them to learn and form. Secondly, ensure that those children are able to give. They see you giving. Those of us who go to church, don't ask them to give you the money to give to church. No. Go, give. Let them also drop their coin into that basket. The reason is, when they drop, then they learn that it is okay to what? To release. Most children, they don't like releasing because it is inherent. You know, this sinful nature, we like receiving, and retaining. But we need to teach them at that level that is okay to give.
Someone talked about piggy banks and said it is wrong to give this child money and tell them to put it in a piggy bank. That at least give them some small work to do so that they receive it as payment, and then when they put it in the piggy bank, then they can know that you have to work for the money when you get it and then you save it.
So from 0 to 5, it is only learning. Yeah, because even if you give them work, okay, what type of work, that's number one. But also, sometimes it only makes sense to teach, simply to drop. And I will come to that.
Yes.
But from around 7, when they are in primary and the lower primary and upper, it is okay not to give for free. Because again, we need to teach our children. So they are right. But on a certain age, to teach our children that money is not from trees, milk is not from the fridge, and meat is not from the butcherman. That comes from a certain cow, and when dad and mommy are going to buy, we pay, and therefore any food that I leave on that plate, it is paid for. That's why we encouraged our children. For us, when you put food on the plate, you must finish it. If you don't finish it, you must explain why you put it there. Because it is self-service. So, okay, put there what you can finish.
And I think this is a good training.
Yes,
because
and if you can't
people
finish
embarrass on events.
You will sit and finish it. Yes, because we are telling these young people that, and you know, on events, you find a mountain, a young child, everything is there. So teach them that what you put, you will eat it and finish it. And when they were young, daddy would sit with them. You are the one who asked for that piece of chicken. Sit, finish it. If you don't finish it, there are disciplinary what? Measures. So that in the future, our children will know it is not fun to do anything. Telephones, forming and learning, that you see there is time to put that phone down. And actually those days we had even offertory, where dad and mommy will drop their phones, and whoever had a phone will drop into offertory basket and keep until morning. Why? Because you are teaching this child that a phone is not everything. But of course when they grow old, and by the way, the Bible is clear, and there is somebody who wrote that when you give them your child at this level, they will become total what those people taught them to become. So when you see a childhood that is deformed, just know that actually you have trouble. I know there are so many people teaching girls, teaching boys, or teaching girls alone without teaching boys. I can assure you, don't teach them. In the future, you'll have now a son-in-law who has beards, but they're in Pampers. You know, beards, yes. There is the form, but the substance inside is for a child. Why? Because at that level, we failed to form them into what we want them to become. Prayer also begins here. Hey, God, we don't have school fees. We pray that you will provide school fees. Inside that mind, it is, hey, daddy prays for fees. And when God blesses you, in the family altar, you are saying, thank God, today somebody called me and gave me fees. So that now you are forming dependence on God, that's on one hand, but also that when they receive, they are not reckless, because it is from what? From God. So that's the stage that you help them to begin planning, begin investing. I even met recently a reverend from St. John's Makerere. He surprised me. Of course, he watches our programs. And he surprised me that his son saved the money. And after opening it, about 1.4 million. He said, go, Daddy, go and buy for me this number of goats. He said 10. Of course, he told me that each goat costs more than 140,000. But I told him, get more and buy these goats. Let this young man be paying for workers, so that there is multiplication, but he's seeing that I'm putting inputs, and I can assure you the future will be bright. So the learning and forming stage is where you now have financial planning, family meetings, we have a budget. When a child says, may I want this, you say, oh, we can't afford. For them to begin hearing that, by the way, there are certain things our family cannot afford. If it is transport, and you take them in a taxi, be paying. And I want to sit on the side. No, I can't afford paying for two. Sit here. What you are actually doing is to form that this child will grow up to know that money is not simply for what. And of course, when they are in P5, we thank God, many of them began using taxis. Now, of course, depending on your parenting style, the risks are real. They are real. But it was nice for a child to live Sapurokagwa, sorry to mention a school that's near All Saints, and go to the park, get a what? Somehow you are helping that. Of course, again, that's very risky, especially because of the environment we are in. If there are 2 or 3, better. But you're also helping that child to know that fuel may not be there always. So it is okay to begin moving without fuel.
Oftentimes I see young children going to Nakasero. So at one time I was saying, but these parents, does it mean that they don't have schools nearby? But now I see the reason, and the children walk happily, so they know a taxi drops me here. I walk from the taxi park to the school, and then the same routine. Wow, we are taking a short commercial break. When we return, we are continuing with the discussion. Stick with us.
Okay.
For God so loved the world that he gave his only Son, that whoever believes should not perish but have eternal life.
Because once Christ warns about something, it calls for attention as believers. When God warns us about something, it means that we are susceptible to it.
Finally, be strong in the Lord and in the strength of his might. Put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the schemes of the devil.
Moses, Ramesses, you grew up together, close as brothers.
Remember the prophecy. Samson, chosen by the living God.
You dare to defy me? Let the furnace be heated sevenfold. Bind them and cast them into the fire.
It begins.
Take the ark!
Family TV, enriching lives.
Family Hour, empowering families one episode at a time. Together, we build strong, healthy, and thriving families with our daily dose of inspiration and expert insights on topics that matter, like education and career growth.
A child may be a good entrepreneur, but you're forcing the child to make sure that she passes sciences in order for her to be a what? A nurse.
Family health.
No one should one day tell you that, hey, since you have diabetes, you should not take Caro. That's a lie. There's what we call caution.
Decisions we leaders take for the good of this country.
Not forgetting parenting.
Now you're raising kids or children who are in a totally different time. You get it. Those days your mother would just give you an eye and you know this is a problem.
Hey, there are visitors.
And it's just there are visitors
and
around.
Mom gives you this eye, you know?
Yes.
Catch more of this every Monday to Friday at 9 p.m.
That is Family Hour that you're watching right now, fully packed from Monday to Friday. You do not have to miss any single episode of the Family Hour. Today is a Wednesday and we are looking at financial planning for the different stages. Specifically, we are looking at this stage between 0 to 12, where Reverend told us that it is a period where we learn most of the things, if not all of the things. So it literally means that what you do when you're old reflects what you learned
when you were a child.
When you were a child.
And that's why you need to take them for business trips. If you have a shop, take them, let them be picking as they give, and then you give change. Like if you have chicken, let them even identify those that become theirs, and then look after them. And when it dies, let them cry that mine died. One of our children, you know, got a cock, and then we had chicken. When the other chicken produced chicks, he was like, all chicks are mine. Then we said, why? That you see, a father is the owner of the whole tribe, and you know, we are called the clan of our father. So since I have the cock, I own all what? All chicks. And for me it was a good reminder that this boy is actually focusing on how I can multiply. And it became a lesson that you look here. The father chicken is only for just giving an egg life, but is not the owner of the chicks. Now one it goes for other hens. So that's when he now said, can I buy now a hen also for multiplying of chicks? But it's a lesson that you say, I own this. And when you are going to eat it, please pay. Pay. And you know, paying means I will give you equivalent of your item. And if the family wants to use it, let it be his gift that I'm giving you back this. So that he now begins forming in his mind that it's okay to own things. It is okay to sell them. It is okay to get money. It is okay to reinvest. And again, at this period, that's when children will continuously know that money is useful. You know, if somebody puts here money, I'm not supposed to pick it. If I pick it, I remember I was about 12 years and I picked money in a market. I mean, I can still remember. But because I had been taught by my parents never to steal, do you know, I picked it up and said, who lost who lost this money? Now, the man I have not forgiven, and I think I will tell him when I go back home. He said it is mine. But what shocked me, and it was a shock, he now told the others when I was hearing that, today is a good day. And I felt betrayed by that man. Of course, he's amongst my uncles. That I can pick something Then I try to look for the owner, and he takes it. I was about 11, but I have never forgotten. Why? Because he betrayed my trust. He would have said, no, you can't get a person in a market who lost money. Take it, either to mommy or to or take it, and so that I feel nice. But I can assure you, and now I know why if he asks me for money, why I never gave him. But I will tell him when I go back home, because it is a forming, learning stage. That stealing is bad, wastage is bad, and that you see money again is not from a tree. Dad and mommy are striving to get this money to pay for my school fees. So when I'm at school, I must learn. Then when I'm at home, these games and cartoons can wait, because Dad and mommy are striving. And you see the challenge today is that economics has taken away the real family structure.
Yes.
Dad is going to look for money, mommy is going. Who is the teacher of our children on money? It is the maid, it is the TV. When they are at school, it is fellow children, plus also teachers. Now, where is the parent? The parent, of course, I thank God, at least me and my wife, we used to drop our children. So there was some level of bonding and you know, managing one another during dropping and taking them home. But then when you take them home, you remain with them at home. And the forming stage also means that there are certain chores they should do. That's when, after eating, daddy picks a plate intentionally, takes it to the kitchen. If daddy is very good, I'm not saying that I'm good, he can wash the plate so that the child follows and washes. What are you saying? That, you know, washing clothes is not for house girl. And of course, with all due respect, many of us are failures there. Where children grow to say that this servant must do 1, 2, 3, 4. I can't even brush my teeth.
Mommy pays you to do this.
Mommy pays you to do this. And how much do they pay? Oh my God. It is so sad. So that forming stage again, you'll form a thief, you'll form a greedy person at that level. Yeah, if they see mommy cheating, mommy, daddy stealing, or mommy saying, I want to do that deal, they will also do deals when they grow up.
Reverend, you mean it is that serious?
Very serious. You see, I'm a Bible reader. This man Abraham says that, Sarah, please say you are my sister.
Yes.
When you reach Egypt, and later to Abimelech's place. Sarah says, I'm a sister. God intervenes, brings. Now, about 75 years later, the son, called Isaac, tells the wife, please say you are my sister. And the wife says, okay, this is my brother. And Abimelech sees them. I say, are you sure? Yeah, you see, naturally he's like my sister, but I married her. And embarrassment. Now, children of Isaac, Jacob and Esau, they improved the lie. Genesis chapter 27. The lie was improved like this. Instead of lying that I'm your wife, Jacob lied that I'm Esau. And really the deal went, the blessing he got. Now sons of Jacob improved the lie. That you see this court. If it is for your son, the lion must have devoured him. For 23 years, the father believed Joseph is dead. From where? From 10, I was actually imagining 10 children lying. But where did the lie begin? So whatever you do today, and that's why corruption is terrible. People think that I steal money, pay school fees. You are simply cursing that generation. And it doesn't matter. Because now in the spiritual realm, the devil will have a claim on your children. That they are studying based on what? Corruption. On stolen things. On drugs, on what? You can imagine stealing drugs to pay for your child, for money outside. It doesn't matter. No wonder some of them, I'm saying some, because there are other conditions, some of them end up on drugs and what? Why? Because there is a legal claim. So at that stage, please, ensure that financial management is in accordance within your means, and you are able to tell them. So my children knew, our children knew that daddy and mommy are not corrupt at that stage. We went to Kenya one time, and I was driving. My wife had removed the seat belt. And so when we reached towards Nakuru police, then they said, oh, Ugandan, I'm on a seat belt, so we are going to charge you. So the young children looked at him, they said, you, if you want a bribe from daddy, forget. In fact, in Uganda, now they are speaking English. In Uganda, he fights corruption. So, if you are taking him to court, do. One added, another one added. The policeman got confused and said, please continue. And they know. Last year, one of my children asked me, that daddy, how did you survive without corrupting your hands? And he was struggling with a certain job. And I told him, no. God will make a way where there is no way. Still remain focused. And I thank God for that. That formation, even when they reached the adolescent stage, they remained focused. The Bible says, teach a child the way they should go. When they grow, they will follow that route. So how much do you spend on certain things?
You've reminded me of someone on this very platform who said that these days you're seated in a car with your children, you beat the traffic lights, and then you say, oh, God has helped us. And then the children know that God helps you to beat the traffic lights.
Yeah, in other words, there is a God in fraud. You know, I read a small article. It was just a comic thing, but it's real. They asked children, yellow, red, and green, what does it mean as traffic lights? The child wrote that they all mean the same, because my border normally passes, whether yellow, whether red, whether green. And that's the tragedy of today, that we confuse our children so much in terms of financial planning and often other things, to the extent that then they get confused. What is right? I remember one time I was driving. For us, we have a no-litter policy at home. You read a paper, you pick it. Whether you are daddy, whether you are mommy, whether you are child. But quickly, we were driving with an uncle. When we reached Kasubi, he got a bottle, drank, throw it outside. Daddy, stop. Uncle must pick the bottle. I was like, what? Uncle littered. He must pick the bottle. Now, integrity crisis, I'm a student of ethics. Integrity crisis comes when you have a choice, but you confuse the one who is looking at you. So the uncle said, you know, your children are bad-mannered. I said, no, they are not. Uncle, littering is bad. I will not stop, but in the future, put the bottle there. When we reach, we shall take it to the dustbin. I saw the young man, you know, feeling nice. But what I had taught that young man is that that ethical decision is right, and uncle is wrong. And therefore, when you grow up, it is okay to challenge certain situations as long as they are not ethical. And so it is okay to actually teach your children financial management that are proper, and financial discipline, to the extent that when they say cake, you say, today we have the money to buy cake, but we are not buying it because cake spoils your teeth. But he's only a fool, and I mean it, whose child will so sweet, and you buy sweets, because
We have
what
people,
will happen.
we have people
to
who
their
are on
teeth.
pressure, Reverend. Every night. I have to take ice cream to match. I have to take sweet. You know, when I don't go with sweets, then they will cry the entire night.
Yeah.
They're on pressure.
Cry, actually, you will sleep well after crying. Because you see, God has made us stewards. A steward in terms of the people you live with, a steward of the environment, a steward of even the office you are in. A good steward will know what is good for their children. And so, this business, even if, I mean, decisions, international schools, and I can go on. It is nice to take your child to an international school. But if you are not able to, we shall not take her. We shall not take him. And there is that pressure. Actually, one time we got somebody saying, let me pay for one child. And we were like, we have 4 and other dependents. And we discussed and said, no, if you want to pay, please pay where others can manage. So that we don't set a pace where we are going actually to pay for what we can't manage. And of course, see, Daddy, you hate me a bit. Yeah, that's okay. They will cry a bit, but later they will know that Daddy is working in the best interest of this child. So it is best interest that this is sweet, because I fear it will spoil your teeth. I'm not going to give it to you as your father. And make it.
Reverend, last time you talked about some people who do not want to pay debts. After borrowing, they start pretending, they start using a lot of gymnastics. And last time you told us some run to court, so that court can save them from the debts they took. Does it mean that this is the time at which you mentor this as a parent?
That a child should know that going into debt is not good. But even when I go to debt, I will pay. I won't tell that child, hey, tell uncle that I'm not around. Hello, uncle. That is telling me to tell you he's not around. What are you telling that child? That you are actually lying so that you don't pay your what?
Or the data comes at the door and then
you go and tell
is your mother in? Then tell them I'm not around. She has said
that she's not around. But the child gets shocked. This is the level. So, again, it is also okay. Actually, my children ask me normally, that's how many we list. Isn't this too much? How are you going to pay? And I normally enjoy telling them that we are going to pay like 1, 2, 3, 4. And they know that all debts of mama and daddy are joined today. And they were gotten to do 1, 2, 3, 4. We may invest and things may be tough, but they will know that as a discipline, since long ago, we all get money from this. We all normally tell people this. And this is interesting. That this, since long ago, I normally enter contracts with my children. If they want a loan to do a business, they will draft a contract. You know, that I want this amount, and I will pay in this what way. And we shall all sign. We get witnesses. What am I teaching this child? That actually breaking a contract is wrong, but also that when you get this money, know that you have responsibility to pay back. Now, when things are tough and they can't pay back, we sit down and say, what do we? Now we are putting yourself in the shoes of that child. What do we do? And we begin discussing. Now, I will pay it this way. I will work for you on this what? I will type for you. I like giving work for typing. I will type for you this number of pages, and you will keep now paying the debt. And they pay up to the last. Okay, you may forgive somewhat, but ensure that you are teaching that child that is not okay to take something from daddy or mommy and totally say I will spend it the way I want, what and what. And I can assure even this watch is out of a quid pro quo. We exchange. Okay, you took this, but now give me that watch. So it is a smart watch. Otherwise, I wouldn't be wearing it. But this is it, that you see we are dealing with money matters. That when I give you, give me. When I get money, ties is this.
Was it given as a collateral or?
not collateral, but there was failure to pay back.
Okay.
And then we calculated. After calculation, there was some level of...
So they know that if you don't pay, then there is something to lose.
Yes, there is something to lose, and therefore they will strive to pay. But even if they don't, then we can negotiate. Because I added something slightly beyond, but it was like, this is it. For this adult now to learn that it is not okay to ask and I don't return. And it becomes nice to know that, every week, and of course I'm now entering the 13, 17, that every week when I'm at school, I will spend this. And we give it on every, for example, Monday, and when you call on Thursday, it can't be give me the weekly allowance. No. It will be, hey, there was an emergency. Now we explain the emergency and we deal with the emergency the way it came. But it's not proper for children to be given money. We call it fa in Ruchiga. There is no English word. You just spend it. No. Because their mind, their capacity to spend cannot be just get. No. It is terrible.
You're reminding me of an experience where I went for primary, where pocket money was paid in the office. So every Saturday they were giving us, I think it was 600 shillings. Yeah, so you have to use 100 per day until next Saturday when you get. And so if you use yours in 2 days or 3, then you'll suffer.
You become reckless, you suffer, but also you go looking for a reason at least to tell the basa that, okay, they stole the money. Even if, in other words, you are becoming responsible at a very young age.
And even with the sugar and soap, that the matron used to count how many spoons of sugar you need in those 6 days, and that is what they give you. And I realized it was really a good system to train you to live within your means.
Within your means. The only challenge is that the trainer is not your model.
Yes.
Now, if it was daddy, mommy, that would
and you think nice. They're only exerting a school principle.
For it is a school. Yes. But if it was family, wow. There you now become a parent also in the future with control mechanisms. So in a way, of course, we shall talk about it in the near future, to have what they call financial policy. Now, a policy is a set of guidelines. A set of guidelines to sort out a problem. Finances are a problem in what? In families. So you now need a policy to help you sort out certain things. What can we buy? What can't we buy? If your car goes, who pays? If there is no water, who actually can be able to sort it out? And like in our family, a set of guidelines includes no alcohol at home. No smoking. So if a smoker comes and begins smoking, it is not whether to chase him, it is how to chase him. So do we push him over the wall? So it is not a question on whether to, and it doesn't matter who you are. That you see in our family, you are not going to bring alcohol no matter who you are. And I recognize there are those who say, Reverend, a little wine, what and what. But as long as that child looks at you drinking that little, they won't understand what a little means. Others will begin stealing it from the what? The fridge, and then eventually trouble. And so, set up policies around your finances. I have an uncle that's very good. He would give you, as long as you don't bring a change, you are in trouble. And he was a finance accountant. I done later. For him, it is first bring me that amount, then I can give you transport to go back to school. If you haven't brought his change, forget about any transport.
And we have parents who even never mind whether you bring change or not. And they are even proud of that.
Yes, others
that one never brings back change.
Others they will say, go to that wardrobe, pick whatever you want. Surely a child, you were in a school, one time a child comes with 50K. And for us, we are negotiating for, can I pay half? And the child comes. Yeah, 2 million as pocket money. Of course, the wish as the parent is, can that parent look at us? But the thing is that that child will never understand that actually you can lack. So when there is a shock, the child will collapse. Because they were in heaven, now they have come to earth, passing through, not through a plane, but through what? Through gravity, 9.81. And they will crash.
We cannot go beyond this point, but thank you so much. Like we said in the beginning, that this is a very broad topic that we cannot digest in only 1 hour, and we shall continue from there next time. We believe God will, and we shall have another interesting episode as we talk about the other life stages that we've not handled today. But thank you so much, and I've worked with Brinko, we have Raymond, Norman, and very many other people out there. From the entire team, it's a good night. We meet again tomorrow.